So hopefully everyone got some amazing scores on last week's challenge, because all the missions were pretty easy. Let's see what Farmlands is throwing at us. So I'm just using my typical farming team. Let's tell you what, let's swap that round. Give you the cookies. Okay, all set, ready to go. So the first mission that's bringing up on this skip is vermin control. Kill all walkers. This is usually... Oh, I know this one. Yeah, so this one's usually an interesting one. It's hard to keep an eye on the whole map at all times. Certainly there are instances where walkers will just sneak up on you. So you got to look out for that. I mean, I almost always use ranged classes for this, but there can be a bit of a risk because you do have things like that goo, and they can sneak around the corner and they can get you. I tend not to move much on this. I like the idea of the enemy coming to you. Anything that will hinder their movement, anything that will root them, anything that will cripple them is very welcome on this map. Just so that they can't reach you and kind of get at you. You've got a couple of tanks on there as well. Yeah, this one can be a lot of fun, but it can be kind of tricky just because you have to often go out and hunt those walkers, unless you just want to really just sit back there and keep clicking the next turn button. You don't need to worry about staying silent. That's something that's really good. Having a having a really good close combat character, that can be a good idea as well. Oh yes, this one. Getting to know these now. So this is similar in some ways, in that you've got that section in the very center top of the map, and at some point I'm sure walkers come out of there. Let's just see what happens. Okay, maybe I'm just getting mistaken with the standard reinforcements. So this one, a little bit easier than the vermin extermination mission, but it is similar in some ways. It's a lot more open map. There are some little bits where the walkers can hide, but certainly not as many on that as on the previous one. I think ranged is a good way to go. Definitely silent, because that reinforcement, that threat counter, that comes around pretty quickly. You don't want to be adding to that. And you must remember you've got couple of tanks on that round to start off with, so whatever you've got that can deal with really tough walkers, you're going to need to bring. I mean, you really can bring a scout or something as well, like I have with this one. This is my farming team, but a scout, because you should be able to get several rounds of shooting in before anything gets close enough to get you. Hammer and saw, get the loot and get out. Okay. Yeah, I know this one. Just gonna swap out Maggie for Yumiko. That's alright, that's fine. Hunting bow, yeah, that's absolutely fine at this level. Usually prefer the assassin's bow, of course, but the hunting bow, yeah, that'll do the trick. Only because this is quite a low level, obviously. This layout is my farming layout, not the layout that I use for, really tough missions where I've got to really think about everything. Yeah, another one. This time you're searching for stuff. Thankfully the crates aren't really close to, say, you know, a spawn point for the walkers, which would perhaps mean that you would really want to be sure that you're bringing Glenn along, so that it doesn't get trapped by those crates. This isn't one of those where you have to sort of worry about that so much. So we come up here, and I suggest before you search that last crate, click the end turn, and then do it. Precisely because that guy pops out, a goo. Not too much to say. You saw the enemies there. Don't forget to, you know, search those crates as you go by them. That's easy enough to do. Focus on the walkers. I think, you know, melee characters could be a good bet. It's a fairly cramped map in terms of the layout, in terms of the blind spots. If you're a fan of melee characters, you're not going to feel silly for taking them on a map like that. Yeah, Sasha tokens, just what we want. Get the loot and get back out. I mean, this is the kind of thing where maybe having Glenn as a leader is a good idea. I think this has several crates. Yeah, it does. And again, that layout means that there's these blind corners. But there are a couple of good avenues of fire for things like the Starbound rifle. There is a threat counter. So if you do have a weapon like the Sawtooth Blade that Glenn is using, which reduces risk, good idea. Okay, so searching the last crate, or I should say the last crate you have to search before you get the loot, doesn't trigger anything. Okay, so I mean that's, you know, that's that mission. That's a fairly straightforward one. You do have a couple of blind spots, which is a problem for ranged characters. Definitely having scouts or shooters though, you can move that extra distance. You can get to those crates quicker before the threat counter builds up. Okay, what's next? What do you got for us, Walking Dead? I'm really looking forward to the second part of the last season coming on soon. I mean, obviously we'll have some episode missions. Yeah, man, just the fact that Walking Dead is back on again, it's going to be emotional. You know, when it finishes, it really is. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sort of seeing it end. It's, you know, I don't want it to continue forever and just decline in quality like Fear the Walking Dead has. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's definitely, God, it's been a TV event for over a decade. Really is something special. Okay, so I believe, yeah, before you start opening that gate, and it takes 2 turns, you want to get your peeps in position. I'm going to have Yumiko do it, because obviously she can shoot while she is opening it. That's worth pointing out. If you shoot that goo, he is going to make loads of noise, bring in loads of reinforcements. So you might want to time when you start opening that gate, which makes the goo arrive, which means that you have to deal with him. If you're doing it with a ranged weapon, he's going to explode like that. Boom. Instantly, 4 walkers added to that threat counter. So, yeah, just sort of time that. Don't start opening it when the next turn the threat counter is going to hit 0 and the reinforcements are going to come in, because you're just adding to that number. Let it tick over. Start opening it, take care of that goo. You're gonna be out of there before those reinforcements arrive. But it's just one of those things that you sometimes get on these missions that you know, you need to pay attention to. Otherwise it can really get you. Take down both of the tough walkers. Alright, okie dokie. Looks like they're both tanks. Oh, this... yeah, oh man, this one can... this one can be a nuisance. I personally like to sort of get into a corner so that there is just less area for me to defend. It means that you have less area to move, but on this map you don't have a lot of room to maneuver anyway. 2 tanks, fairly close up map. You know, it's not a difficult, you know, not difficult at this level, but when the difficulty starts ramping up, when you get onto those higher levels, they can be a real problem. You've really got to decide. I mean, taking out the normal walkers to give yourself a charge attack, that's probably the best way of taking out those tanks quickly and efficiently. You want to use things like shooters with powerful weapons, maybe hunters. Yeah, melee characters, you can run up and stab them and stuff. Just make sure that you're not going to get trapped, because they start at the back of the map. It's like they've got an entourage that you've got to get through first. But the thing is, as soon as you've killed that second tank, the mission is over. So you don't have to escape or anything like that. So bear that in mind. You could be umming and ahhing about what to do, and then you're like, wait a minute, if I just kill this thing, mission's over. I'm surrounded by a dozen walkers, but they can't get to me because the screen will fade and the mission ends. So Farmlands, this has got some tough missions on it. Definitely, it's not like last week's where it was all plain sailing pretty much. But hopefully you can get fantastic score for yourself and your guild. Now you know what to expect. And as ever, thank you for watching.